Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the JD Show. I'm your host, James. I am with
Madison Brooks.
Madison Brooks. Thanks for coming on.
Yes.
Why don't you give a little brief history about yourself, what you currently do?
Sure, yeah. So I'm currently 25 years old. I'm a bartender in Los Angeles, Desert 5 spot. I model as well. I've been modeling since I was about 19 years old. Do a little bit of everything, but yeah.
Awesome.
History. Yeah.
Cool. Are you signed with the agency?
I am, yes. So Genetics in New York, currently unsigned in Los Angeles, but looking to change that. But
Hey,
yeah.
LA agency, she's
Right.
open. There we go. Awesome. Cool. And then you obviously work nightlife too on the side.
I do, yes.
From modeling.
Yes, bottle service, the whole 9 yards.
Awesome. Yeah, so this show, we like to bring on interesting guests from different backgrounds. You being a model in, I'd say LA still is the modeling capital of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, at least the US.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's very interesting. We like to talk about some of the crazy things that models have seen in the industry, like not just modeling industry, but the entertainment industry as well.
Sure.
There's always some unique stories out there, as well as like discussing some modern sociological dynamics of the dating space. So that's kind of going to be the main topics for today.
Let's do it.
You ready?
Let's do it.
Awesome. So tell me, are you in a relationship?
Yes.
And how long have you been in a relationship for?
A year and 3 months.
A year and 3 months?
Yeah.
Okay. First long-term relationship or?
No.
Okay.
No. 2 prior long-term relationships, one for 2.5 years and one for about a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what made you decide to get into another long-term relationship?
I was not planning on it at all by any means. It's kind of a funny story. I actually started by dating his roommate. It didn't turn out so well. We went on a couple dates and just did not mesh. And then on our second date, I was like, wait a minute, like, I don't think this is working, but who's that guy? And so we met and we kind of just hit it off way better than me and his roommate ever did to start with. And so it just started from there, started hanging out once, twice a week. And now it's practically living together.
Okay, right on. So you did move in.
Yeah, well, I have my own place still, but we spend a lot of time together to the point where I'm almost there,
Smart. Okay.
Yeah.
And what about just people that you've casually hooked up with before? I know you mentioned to me earlier that you like to kind of stay traditional. You don't really like to sleep around.
Yeah.
Most girls that I find in LA usually don't think that way. So it's a little interesting to me that you do have a low body count and you made that decision. What's your thought process behind that?
The thought process, I feel like, is mostly just the way that I was raised. My mother herself has only been with people that she was in relationships with. She never hooked up with anybody. So I have a lot of siblings. I have 4 brothers, 1 sister. And my mom was with my dad and only 1 person ever before that. So they had kids together, were together for 19 years. Now they're no longer together, but she's still, it's like her 3rd person she's been with her whole life. And that's just kind of the way that I was raised. I grew up. We didn't talk about that, but then as I got older, I was just like, hey, you start to talk about those things. And my mom was like, yeah, I've only ever been with, these.
It's a very traditional family,
very
traditional
family dynamic. Yeah. And my dad couldn't be more different. My dad is on the opposite side of the spectrum where he had his fun, when he was younger. But it was just always instilled in me by my mom and just kind of seeing the way that, I don't know. I feel like women are treated in society is kind of different. I feel like you're judged very heavily based on the number of people you've slept with or haven't slept with,
Absolutely. I mean, it's understandable. Throughout human history, it's a weird sociological dynamic.
It is.
Women who were promiscuous have always been frowned upon in history. Yeah. And males who were able to get a lot of women were praised.
Yes. It's the whole thing. It's it doesn't make sense, but it does,
Right.
It's just something that I feel like we're used to. We're programmed to be used to.
Yeah. Do you agree that that's the way it should be? Or do you think it should be an even level playing field? For a woman, it doesn't matter. A man, it shouldn't matter, or vice versa. What are your thoughts?
Well, I feel like it's an interesting playing field because I feel like a lot of women would disagree and kind of just be like, I feel like it kind of is still the same way it was. I feel like a woman really shouldn't do a lot of sleeping around. I feel like a lot of our worth is based on, what we can offer. And I feel like if you are a woman that sleeps with so many men, I feel like it does kind of make an impact. It changes who you are mentally. It just changes the way that you view sexual relationships. And I feel like it takes like the meaning out of having like a true partnership. The world that we're in now, it's like it should all be an even playing field. Like it doesn't matter, do whatever you want. And while I think that, you should think that way if that's how you feel, it's just for me personally, it just is something that wouldn't make me happy to sleep around a whole lot. I feel like for men it is different just because it's the way it's always been.
Right. No, it absolutely is different. And
Yeah.
a lot of people disagree with me on the way that I think about this topic.
Yeah.
Like, I personally think, like, if you're a guy, like, you need to be able to become the type of man who actually can obtain a lot of women and get experience with women. Because in every relationship, the man is expected to be the leader. And a relationship won't work out unless the man actually is the leader. Yeah. And a great way for him to really grow himself personally and learn how to be able to lead a woman in a relationship, he needs to have experience. But then it's the opposite for women, in my opinion, of course, where I think if a woman has too much experience, like she's dated too many people, has had too many sexual relationships, she's not able to properly connect with a new man she wants to be with long term.
Yes.
And she develops a lot of, I guess you could say, ideas in her head that would be counterintuitive to actually having a good dynamic in that relationship.
Yeah. And I think it all just comes down to we are wired differently. We are wired differently as males and females. It's just a completely different mindset. And so, like, for me personally, I pride myself on the fact that I haven't really slept around a lot. Like, and in my relationship, my partner actually really appreciates it. And, like, he's couldn't be more different. Like, he has had his fun. He's a little bit older. He's 35. So he has done his fair share. He's done his fair share of women.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's not something that bothers me because I like that he's experienced. He knows what he wants. And then when we found each other, it was kind of just like, we have this agreement. We are, like, on the same playing field for each other, with just
So you're actually
ideas.
glad that he has a lot of experience.
I
with
am.
women.
Yes. Oh my God. I feel like it works out so much better for me in so many ways. And just, you are the woman at the end of the day, like we're in a serious relationship. I'm the woman that he chose. And I feel like that means more to me than, anything that he's done before.
Oh, that's really interesting. I was in a relationship with someone for a while in the past, and she always would tell me she had an issue with my sexual history.
Yeah.
Like people that know me, I'm in the entertainment space, work with a lot of women models. Like, yeah, surely I've been around and I'm not ashamed of it. I'm happy about it.
Yeah.
Not very many men could do that, right?
Yes, no, it's
But
true.
in that relationship, she'd almost like shame me for having that experience. And I'd ask her, I'm like, well, do you like the things that I do to you in bed? Yes, of course. Like you've never made me feel this way in bed, like compared to any of my past partners, etc.
Yeah.
And like I'll ask her, like, do you like the way that I treat you when it comes to like emotion in an emotional sense?
Yeah.
Having intellectual conversations, like the way that I lead the relationship. So she pretty much indicated to me she likes every single thing about me that I bring into the relationship, especially the sexual aspect. And I wouldn't have any of that if I wasn't experienced.
Yeah.
Like I was literally her first partner to ever give her orgasm.
Yeah.
And that was like mind blowing for her. She thought that she just couldn't do it.
No, that's so common for women.
Yeah, it is.
Friends and like I have friends that pride themselves on like being with men that are kind of on the same level as they are, so kind of inexperienced. And with that, I feel like it always comes with like they'll call me and be like, Maddie, I think I'm broken. And I'm like, you aren't broken, you just haven't found it yet.
Right.
And I feel like it's because people have this idea that, the body count, like a low body count is what's important. I feel like for men and women, it is so different. Like I want a man who's experienced personally. Like I'm like, go for it. If you're in a committed relationship, of course that has to, end there. But whatever you did before me is not my issue.
Right.
No,
that's a really interesting perspective.
Yeah, like I'm thankful you have the experience to like do right by me. And that's why I am with the partner that I'm with now and have been for such a long time, is because he's good at what he does.
Yeah, that's a seller.
Like, it works for me. Yeah.
I've noticed like women that I've encountered personally, people that I've known, been friends with, worked together, etc. The ones who like do have low body counts, maybe they've hooked up a couple times, had a couple like long-term relationships.
Yeah.
Usually they have the same complaints. Like they'll generalize men, be like, yeah, men just don't know how to satisfy a woman.
Yeah.
But if we ever got to that point where it turned around and we're doing something, mind blown every
Yeah.
single time.
Yeah.
Not trying to round my own chain, but just an example to the audience. Like,
Yeah.
that's really important for men to have that experience.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, like, men, for the most part, unless like you're messed up in the head, I've met a lot of fucked up dudes who just have an obscured mindset. But generally speaking, most men are attracted to a woman who doesn't have a lot of experience, like in the bedroom and in life in general, because every man who gets into a long-term relationship wants to be able to have a woman that he can lead and show them the world and be able to experience things for the first time together.
Yeah.
So like some of these girls, especially in the LA industry, all of the hot models, they're constantly getting blown up in their DMs. Like even girls with 6,000 followers, they have hundreds of messages from all kinds of guys around the country, around the world, being offered to get flown out to Dubai,
Yes.
Paris, all these luxurious travel
Yeah.
destinations. Like, hey, I'm looking for a sugar baby. I could do 20 grand a month. You could
Yeah.
quit your life. Just come live with me and be taken care of.
Yeah.
And a lot of these girls, like, go hit up those opportunities. I have a friend of mine right now. She used to work with me doing atmosphere modeling jobs.
Okay.
And she got a random DM from a dude in Dubai who's some billionaire.
Wow.
He's considered a sheik, if you know Dubai
Yes.
culture.
Oh, yeah.
So she got a DM from some sheik in Dubai. He's like, I'm looking for a girlfriend for a year. Like, that's it. He just wants a year-long girlfriend.
Wow.
And flew her out to Dubai. Next thing you know, she's posting in the Lamborghinis, the
Yeah.
crazy Rolls Royce with the one-digit license plates, the
Yeah.
pools, the restaurants, getting all kinds of crazy bags, plus her bank account's filling up.
Yes. Yeah.
But that relationship, he already indicated he doesn't want anything longer than a year. So she knows that's going to end and she's going to come back to the real world here.
Yeah.
And she's young. I think she's like 21, 22 years old.
Okay.
And I know for a fact that's going to hinder future relationships that she may have. Like, she's narrowed her dating pool now to where she's only going to be able to have access to those very high profile guys with billions of dollars, which usually them, like, they don't really take women seriously.
No.
Or they don't take their relationship seriously.
No.
So she's a prime example of how one day, because of the choices she's made and the lifestyle that she's chose for temporary satisfaction, will ultimately impact her long term.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I feel like it kind of goes the same way for like women who are, this is no shade, but women who are in like the OnlyFans industry or industries like that. You know, I've had friends who have done it and then they come back to me and they're like, I can't get a guy to take me seriously. Like, this is what I do for a living. It's completely separate from who I am as a person, but I can't get a man to look at me and want to like marry me or make me his girlfriend or make me his wife, you know, any of those things. And in those kind of situations, I always have to kind of just look at them and be like, but this is what, you know, you're doing this for a living and it's your work, but also it's part of you. Like, that doesn't go away.
Right, it doesn't go away.
And I feel like if you look at a woman and, you know, you can find videos of her on the internet doing all kinds of things, like as a man, I feel like it's just something that does like lower your value as a woman, at least like in a relationship.
And it lowers the value as a man too in that relationship.
Yes, because if you're going to that, and it's just like how low can you go? You know? And so I feel like it's an interesting world that we live in now because it's so normalized, and so like society is like, you're a strong woman, you know, do whatever you want, but also you're a strong woman who maybe is going to look back at 35, be single with a bunch of cats and be like, what happened, what went wrong?
With a bunch of cats. I love that. Yeah.
What went wrong? It's like, well, exhibit A, like this video of you doing that, like, you know. And I feel like it's just something that is so normalized in our society at this point that it's just seen as okay. And like, to me, I just look at it with such a different kind of viewpoint because I just feel like some things are sacred.
Right.
You know?
No, it definitely is normalized for girls to have OnlyFans. Like, for some reason, this thought process is pushed on society that, like, guys, you're not allowed to disqualify a woman based on her sexual history. You're not allowed to disqualify a woman if she has extreme content on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Like if a girl I know a lot of models who have an OnlyFans page,
Yeah.
but all they're posting is their back like
Lingerie.
behind the scenes
Yeah,
content
like stuff
from
like
their
that.
photo shoots that
Yeah.
they're doing in modeling. They're not like showing pussy,
You know,
like getting hardcore railed out on camera.
Yes.
So that's an exception. Like I'm perfectly okay, like being in a serious relationship with somebody if she was making bank off of OF and it was just her modeling content that she's posting on there.
Absolutely. And I've even
Chill
thought
with
about
it.
that myself, you know, like starting an OnlyFans where it's just like behind the scenes content, lingerie, just kind of photos that you can't exactly like get on the Instagram, you know?
Right.
And I feel like that's a completely different ball game than like getting railed by two dudes,
Yeah.
like some DP action on your thing and then just
Oh,
coming home.
any girl that's ever done DP, regardless if it's been on camera or not, disqualifier.
Like rough day at
like-
work, honey, you know? Like it's a whole different ball game, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
one.
I applaud women who make money off of, you know, just sharing what they're doing in their daily lives. Like I've thought about doing like behind the scenes at my bar job, behind the scenes at, you know, modeling shoots and like the things you don't see. And just using that as a platform for it. I just feel like it's the things that are like, you know, what OnlyFans was kind of made for is like the extreme stuff, you know?
Well,
and I feel like
OnlyFans was initially made for like actors and models to post their behind the scenes content or like music artists
No way.
post their stuff. But for some reason,
Oh my
the
gosh.
304 generation decided to flip the script on OnlyFans and it became essentially a
Shifted
pornographic
that right
platform.
over. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Because I know Playboy is doing something similar now.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
have
they
their
are.
own like OnlyFans platform. And I feel like it's kind of like this separation is happening where I feel like now people are kind of going over to that one. At least from what I've heard, I have friends that like started on OnlyFans and are going to like the Playboy site because there are more people now on the OnlyFans platform that are doing just, you know, behind the scenes stuff.
Right.
You know, and so I feel like now there's all these different alternatives and options and so many different places you can, you know, share your stuff.
And teach their own. Like, hey, is you as an individual, whatever decisions you want to make in life, as long as it's not harming anybody else.
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna think any different of you. Like,
Absolutely.
some of the like best girls I've ever worked with have done like extreme content on OnlyFans. I used to manage an OnlyFans agency myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I speak out against pornographic content.
Yeah.
In general, like I'm very against it.
Yeah.
But still, if somebody wants to do that, hey, go ahead. I'm not going to judge you. But then
Yeah.
when it comes to the idea of me having to accept you in a relationship, that's where I
Yes.
draw the line. I go ahead and do it, but I can never date you seriously. If every guy out there has been able to see your pussy for $6.99, like I'm good.
Yeah, I feel like that's exactly where I stand too, is like I don't judge anybody for what they do for money, you know, and I feel like if that's something that you want to pursue, like go for it. I would never judge anybody's character based on doing that. I just think in this you know, in a relationship field, it's like I definitely would look at, like, if I was a, you know, a lesbian woman, or if I was a man, and I looked at a woman and, you know, could go into, you know, Pornhub and type in her name and her OnlyFans, whatever, and find these videos. Because also I feel like what happens with OnlyFans is these videos are not just on OnlyFans. They go onto the other porn sites. You can find anybody's
It's
videos
true,
for
yeah.
free.
Right.
You know, so if I could Google you and find like a picture of your vagina, like I'm just, you know, it's something that I would definitely not go through with in a relationship, you know?
Yeah.
And so like no problem with doing that, like make your money, do your thing. But in a relationship field, I feel like that definitely shifts some dynamics there.
Right. Now, what if
Sure.
a guy was a former OnlyFans star, like porn star, never did any like gay content?
Yeah.
But just with women, like, would you date a guy seriously who did that?
So here we go again with this. I feel like it's like I would kind of just, I don't know personally if I would want to do it. I think it would I'd bet definitely be more open to it just because, like we talked about, like I feel like a man that's with a lot of women.
Society isn't going to shame the man for.
There's no shame for that. And
Yeah.
honestly, if anything, it would kind of be something that was more applauded, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting how that works.
It's very interesting.
People want to deny it. And people want to say that it's racist, sexist, whatever word you could call it. But, you know, in reality, people think like what we're talking about. Like,
Yeah.
It's not honorable for a woman to act that way. If a man does it, good for him.
Yeah.
It's
right. And like,
is the
personally,
world fair? No, but that's just the way it is.
just how it is. Yeah. And like, personally, I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't be thrilled about it, but I would give more thought to it if it were a male, you know,
Right.
as compared to like myself or my friends doing it, you know, like just it's a completely different ball game. And it's crazy because like, yeah, my brain can't even wrap around it. Like, why is this thing okay and this not? But I just think about like my situation and like how I would even just like view myself, honestly. If I were to, you know, sleep around a whole bunch, like hook up with different guys every day, I would have really low self-worth, you know? And so I just base it off of the fact of like my feelings alone. Like, I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want my daughter to do that one day, you know, like, and just from the way that I was raised, I feel like it is so instilled in me, you know,
Absolutely.
that it's sacred. Like, sex is a sacred thing. Relationships are sacred, especially if you're going to be serious with someone and you see a future, like you want to marry this person, you know, I want that to be safe for them.
Right.
So, yeah.
No, understandable. And,
Yeah.
you know, speaking of body count, OnlyFans, pornographic topics aside,
Yeah.
just like for body count, like there's a lot of data out there that indicate what you're saying. It's very true for a woman has incredibly different experience as to like what goes on chemically in her brain
Yes.
during a sexual interaction versus what happens physiologically with a man.
Yes.
Why don't you speak on a little bit of what your opinion is, what happens in a woman's brain when she does give herself away?
Yeah, so honestly, in my personal experience, I feel like when I am intimate with someone, it kind of establishes, unless I'm going into it, like it's all about mindset. So I could go into something and just, you know, kind of shut it off and just think like, you know, this is just a one night stand. There was after a breakup one time, I was angry and I just wanted to, you know, get my rocks off. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go see this person. I'm going to do this. But I was shut down emotionally. I feel like when I am, going into an encounter with more of like an open mind. If I'm single, you know, I'm just like attracted to somebody. This is someone I know. I kind of like this person. I feel like just establishing that sexual relationship, it sends signals. Like it kind of just starts, you start thinking about them more. You know, I feel like once someone sees that part of you and like has that part of you, it kind of changes how you view them. At least for me as a woman, like I feel like we tend to just fall in love more, you know, through
Absolutely.
sexual encounters. And so there's been times too where like I would sleep with a person and I develop these strong feelings for them. And then they just be like, you know what? I don't really feel that way. To me, it was just sex. And I'm like, how could it be that way? You know, like, oh my gosh, like I really started to care about you. And then it's kind of just like, again, the way that we're wired differently. I feel like men
Right.
can have sex for simply like the carnal, like the joy of it. And then I feel like a lot of women kind of, we start to get our feelings entangled with it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like me as a guy, I can speak full honesty here.
Yeah.
I've been with a lot of people,
Yeah.
and I've only cared about having sex with one person
Yeah.
in my whole life.
Yeah.
Like that one person. Hey, I loved having sex with her.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to. Everyone else, like if they never wanted to speak to me again, I'd be like, oh, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
better out there.
On to the next, you know.
But for women, it's not like that. And that's another reason why it's so important for a man to be able to be experienced, because when he is trying to lock down a partner, he has to be able to thrill her in bed, because
Yes.
a woman is already going to be emotionally invested unless she's suffering some, you know, major psychological disconnect because she's just had way too many partners that she's numb to it.
Yeah.
But typically speaking, like she is going to have that emotional connection. And if that man has the skill set to really spark the sexual interest with that woman, oh, she's going to fall in love with him. And then he's
Yeah.
going to have what he wants.
Absolutely.
And then she gets what he wants or what she wants, and everybody's happy. Bam,
Yeah.
you got a happy relationship.
Right. That's the key. That's the key. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I just feel like we are just so different between men and women that it's not even like I could explain it all day, but you'd never even really understand because you haven't been in my shoes, you know? And it's like, I have the reason why I don't really do, you know, like one-time encounters is just because like when I am also like with somebody, the feelings are so strong for that person that I really don't even see anybody else. Like I have blinders on,
Right.
you know, and I feel like because that connection, like when you're with somebody who knows how to take care of you and knows who you are and knows how to treat you, it kind of just makes you have these blinders on. Like you can't see anybody.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
Yeah, and that's how it should be. And I feel like in society now, especially like cheating is everywhere. You know, you can pick up your phone and have another guy or another girl within 2 hours to take you on a date or do something. Like, it's so people are easily available. It's not how it used to be. And so I feel like that is kind of the issue with the way that people view relationships now, is they see people as disposable. And even with those connections, if you do develop a connection with somebody, like, it's so easy to just throw it away because of something, you know, an opinion or something like that. And it's wild.
Yeah, cheating is rampant nowadays.
It is.
Like, I feel like religion definitely plays an important role as to how two people act within a relationship. And, you know, obviously in today's society, we've definitely driven far away from traditional religious values. Like, we live in a, you know, so-called Christian nation where there's the majority of people are of some type of Christian faith, but modern day Christianity looks completely different than what it did back in the 50s, 60s, you know. 60s is kind of when the sexual revolution started and the whole modern sociological aspect changed when it came to the sexual marketplace. And then modern day today, it's just like, I have a very controversial opinion when it comes to cheating in relationships. So I get a lot of hate for this, but I feel like if you're a very like high quality man, like you've developed yourself throughout your whole life, you make a lot of money, you're successful, you're good looking, you're in shape, you really provide and take care for your woman in every single aspect and she's fulfilled. I don't think it's a deal breaker if a man were to seek something on the side once in a while or even often, whatever he feels like. I don't think that's going to hinder the relationship. But on the flip side, I feel like if a woman were to even hint at cheating, like even entertain another guy for his attention, that is an automatic deal breaker in that relationship. It'll never work out because male loyalty looks completely different from female loyalty. Women show their loyalty through sexual exclusivity. Males show their loyalty through everything else, finances, like how they are able to take care of the woman's heart, etc. What are your views on that?
Yeah, so again, I feel like that is something that as a man, I feel like if you are providing and you're really taking care of your woman, like all of her needs are met and everything is taken care of, I feel like it kind of grants you that, like, I feel like that feeling is warranted, because women, I feel like we cheat for love. Men cheat for sex.
Right.
Like, men just want, like, the you know, to get their dick wet, for lack of a better term. And I feel like when women cheat, it is a very emotional thing. Usually women cheat and get in relationships with the person.
There's a lot of thought put into it when a woman cheats. That's what I'm saying. Like, a man puts zero thought into it. It's like, yeah, I'm getting my dick wet.
Yeah,
whatever.
like that
Going
looks
back
good.
to my wife, I'm going to go buy her the new diamond earrings and, you know, make sure her car's clean.
Right, exactly. So I feel like it's a completely different level. Myself personally, I still wouldn't want my partner cheating. I also feel like there's a kind of the less I know, the better sort of aspect to it. If I'm being completely taken care of, I wouldn't be happy to hear about it. But also, if my bills are paid, my car bill's paid, I have a place with my name on it, you know, and I'm sitting at home and I'm happy, then just don't let me find out about it.
So you're willing to look the other way if that man is able to fulfill every other aspect of your
only
life.
if that's the case. Like, if I'm also with somebody and, you know, I am still being the main provider, we're like going equal if we're paying half and half rent and I'm paying all of my own bills and I'm not being taken out to dinner every week and there's certain things, then I feel like if that's the case, no, you're not allowed to seek anything else just because we're on the same level. You know, if I'm providing more for myself than you are for me, I feel like I don't want you going anywhere. If I'm provided for, I'm happy, my bills are paid and my feet are kicked up, you know, I feel like it's a different story. You know, and I feel like that's just kind of the way that my brain works. But definitely I think women cheat for love, men cheat for the sheer joy of getting their dick wet. And, you know, I wouldn't see my partner cheating as anything more than the fact he just thought someone was pretty and wanted to try it out, you know?
Very interesting perspective.
Yeah.
We're definitely on the same page as far as our thinking goes on that topic.
Yeah.
Many people disagree with me. But overall, like, I think it's safe to say, and if you do disagree with me on this, please go ahead and say so. If a man were to step out of his relationship, that relationship is salvageable. If a woman were to step out, even just entertaining another guy's attention. No physical like interaction involved. Just chatting, flirting, doing something behind the guy's back. That relationship's already done for.
I would say yes. Yeah. I mean, I have been in relationships where I've forgiven a partner for, stepping out. Where in the same case, I don't feel like it would be the same the other way. And it's simply just because, that person was providing for me. That person had all my needs met. And so, I just was like, do I want to sacrifice this whole relationship and this person I'm happy with just because his nature told him he wanted that thing? The shiny new thing. And so it was something that it happened once, it's forgivable. I didn't love it. I wasn't thrilled about it. But at the same time, I was like, I didn't feel like I hated him after that. I feel like I had to kind of go to a place of understanding and just be like, why did you do this? And when he explained to me, like, I don't love this person. I'm never going to speak to her again. I just wanted it. In that moment, I wanted it and it happened. And, I apologize for doing it. I'm sorry if that hurt you, but genuinely, it wasn't from a place of, I love this human. It's just, I want to fuck it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was the reason why I was able to forgive. Whereas like if I were to go cheat after that, like spitefully or something, I feel like it just becomes more of a like romantic kind of connection because you're hurt, you want to get back. I feel like for women, it's just simply more connection based and you're looking to move on to the next thing when you're cheating. As a woman cheating, you're making a backup plan. You're, for a man, it's kind of just a sexual pleasure thing.
Absolutely. I don't have anything to disagree with there. Well, you have some very interesting perspectives. I think the audience is going to be thrilled to see what you have to say. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
You're very lovely. And if you liked what she had to say and you want to see her come back on, go ahead, drop a comment below and we'll make it happen. Thanks, guys, and that's it.